Hello, welcome back to everyone that's tuned in to the American Ultra Stock channel. Thank you so much for being here. After a week where we were both apart on our videos, here we are back to our traditional format. Thank you so much, guys, for bearing with us. And now, well, we're doing the review for the Stock Watch. As we know, the season's underway, and we have a lot of our players already getting on the field, getting into some action. After the second week, right here, you see on Braden's background some players that shined or not. We're doing the format with 5 of our picks, and at the end, we're going to mention the ones that we're going to be keeping on our stock watch to keep an eye out for the following week. But during this weekend and this past week, Braden, the first name that gets a stock up or down for you, who is it?
Well, you mentioned the jerseys I have in my backgrounds, and that's going to be one of them. To start off, I have Jedi Robinson for stock up. He got an assist, very good first time ball on his weak foot as well, which I thought was very impressive. And I mean, he could probably be stock up every week. He's just so consistent. Every week he puts in a solid 7, 8 out of 10 performance. The assist obviously edging that out a little bit, especially having it be a game winner. But I mean, he's just so reliable at left back, one of the most consistent probably in the world, honestly, at least in the Premier League. And I mean, we know the level of that. And I mean, considering how many of our other guys have issues with maybe injuries or getting in and out of form, I think he's probably the only one you can say is consistently always on a good level. So I think he always deserves kind of a mention here, but especially with the game-winning assist. And he was really good as well to start the season against Man United last week too. And I thought they got a little bit unlucky with the result there. So I think he definitely deserves a mention here.
Absolutely. He's one of those guys that he's so good every week. We almost don't kind of underrate him because he's so good. We always think his stock is already all the way up. But I'm going with the guy that's also a mainstay in the A team. I think is our best player, Christian Pulisic. Not only because of the goal, he got the goal. It's a very easy goal to score, but I think he maybe could have gotten another goal. The Parma goalkeeper did a good job right there, and we know who the Parma goalkeeper is, but I think he created a lot, was very lively in a match where I think he gets a stock up, but his team, I think that things are not looking up really. I think they might be in for a very rough season, and at least he was a creative spark in the match, looking lively every time he had the ball. I like when he's playing direct. I think Pulisic, when he's playing direct and looking for things to taking players 1v1, and he was drifting inside a lot too. So I think it was a good match from him. Shows that he's adaptable in any position for this very fragile and unstable Milan team for now. But he gets a stock up. It's always nice to see him off the mark, and hopefully it's a big season for him ahead. Also stock up for saying that it's a time for a change and going back on some of his support of the previous manager. So I'll give him a little bit of extra there. But now moving on to the second player that caught your eye, was it another positive?
Well, I wish I could have picked Zion Suzuki, like you mentioned. If only we had managed to recruit him somehow. But no, it's going to have to be a negative for number two. And it's going to be, I can't remember if he was picked before, but it's going to be Fuller and Balogun. I feel like he was probably one of the leaders in stock down last season. And I don't want to continue on that and continue to pile it on him starting this season. But I mean, it's just not a good sign for him, especially considering the fee that Monaco paid last summer to miss 2 big chances in your first game given the start, and then this weekend to not see the pitch at all. An 18-year-old was subbed on, and a new one at that, someone they just bought this summer, getting on the pitch before Balogun. It's just not a good sign for him. And honestly, I mean, it's still so early, and I'm always a little bit conservative in terms of the transfers that I request for our players, because I feel like a lot of our fan base can get a little bit too ambitious and impatient at times. But I think Balogun might need to look for a new club soon, because I just don't think it's going to work out at Monaco for one reason or another. He has the talent in the league. He's shown that already. But for whatever reason, the club situation just doesn't seem to be working.
Yeah, let us know in the comments below, guys. What do you think? Because we mentioned this in the past, and I'm someone that was very critical of him in the past. I think for us, he had that marquee moment in the summer. Happy for him with us. Hopefully, we provide that safety net, because I think once your manager goes out publicly in your first season, when you're a big signing, but kind of throwing you under the bus, and then now you see how things are going. Very unencouraging for Balogun. Sad to see as well. But I'm also going with another stock down, and just doing a bit of a mix right here. After a stock up, I'm choosing Chris Richards. He was a stock down last week. And I'll be honest, just watching the game, if you look in the app ratings, you might think he did all right. But I think he really does look out of place with such a good coach. And I think that it's going to take time for them to adapt under Glasner. But Just I know West Ham are a very good side with all the signings that they made, but I think even playing out of the back, he has a very good fullback next to him with Munoz, and I don't think he really understands. I think he looks a bit out of place, and when they're suffering counterattacks, he looks lost too. Doesn't really have his man, and I think that it's again not encouraging with a good manager. I think that the standards will be brought up and the expectations. If he doesn't start performing, I'll be a little bit concerned, and also I'm extra concerned because he's our best defender and he's not being able to really shine or be important for his club in the Prem. So yeah, we move on to the next one right here. Who is it?
Well, I'd even add on. You said the expectations are going to continue to get raised with, I mean, you said Glasner's a fantastic manager. They just bought Maxence Lacroix from Wolfsburg to replace Anderson, of course. Chadi Riyad, who they also signed this summer, came into the starting lineup, and I think it has to be said, him and Gahey both look better than Richards. I think maybe he gets one more week, and if he continues to underwhelm, I think he's going to move to the bench. And it's just going to be back to square one where we were at the beginning of last season when he was on the bench for them and wasn't even getting minutes. So it's a real concerning situation for Richards. But on a brighter note, I'm going to pick a stock up for my third one, and it's going to be the other guy I have behind me, Josh Sargent. I mean, he probably should have been picked the week before for his goal and assist, but and we saw in the comments a lot of people saying him, so I think he deserves his mention this time. Great goal. A bit unfortunate for Austin Trusty because he got the better of him, got goal side. Admittedly, I almost put Trusty and stock down for that because it's just really bad positioning from him, but so well done from Sargent, and the quick feet to poke the ball past the keeper. When he came out, it was kind of a weird situation because he came out but didn't fully commit. So Sargent had the time, but he finished expertly. I mean, we know what he does. He scores goals, and I think he's going to be a serious contender for the Golden Boot, provided he stays healthy in the championship. So he'll probably be on stock watch every week or so, but he, especially after the last couple of performances, he deserves a mention.
Absolutely. I hope he gets a full season where he's fit because then he can get that golden boot. I think he, even with his team not having Sada there, who was a provider for him, and on Trusty, I agree with you. You're not going to get any starting defenders in the championship for a side that wants to get promoted defending like that. I mean, really concerning. But my next pick right here, after that, and props to Sargent, really. We should mention him a little bit more. Really props. The guy is so consistent for his club. My next one, it's going to be a guy that goes under the radar a little bit. It's going to be Taylor Booth. I'm going to pick him for stock down right here because apparently he missed the match through illness. But I don't think that Utrecht really... I think it's fair to say at this moment, in the beginning of last season, he was one of the key figures for Utrecht. And now I think the club kind of sees him as surplus to requirements, really. He's just there. I think that Paxton Aronson has been fitting in well, and they're going to likely be battling in the same area of the pitch with Booth missing out on a match through illness. I mean, just make the bench, really. I don't see what the point of that is. And I just think that overall, after somewhat mixed Olympic Games for him, I think his stock is going down, especially with the emergence of some other players. If Ruckus Buxtas gets a move, for example, that's a guy that kind of overtakes him. And just a stock down because I had huge hopes for Booth in the past few years, and I don't think it's really materializing there. Hopefully, on a brighter note, you pick a stock up, Braden?
Well, I unfortunately no, I have another stock down, but I just want to mention one more thing on Booth. I don't want to be too harsh on him, but the Utrecht did also have a friendly midweek to have their backups play. I think every single player who was on the bench from their first game, their Eredivisie opener, started except for Booth, who was on the bench and didn't even get any minutes in that game. And maybe it was because of the illness, who knows? Obviously, he missed the matchday squad this weekend, and I'm hoping he recovers from that quickly. But I think with Ola Romani playing well on the right-hand side, and of course Paxton taking the spot in there, Turnstra as well, there's just not going to be many opportunities for Booth. And it's sad because, like you said, 2 seasons ago, he was so good, and then the injuries last year kind of, I think, derailed his whole trajectory. So hopefully he can maybe even get a move, honestly, and start fresh somewhere else. But continuing on the negative spiral, I'm going to pick Griffin Yao with a stock down. And it's another one that's unfortunate because he's another Olympic guy who we've had such high hopes for, and I think those are still there. But Sterling have started the season pretty well without him because, of course, he missed the preseason, he missed the start of the season with the Olympics. He had mixed results there, was really good in a couple of games, a little quiet in others, and because of their good start, he's just a bench warmer now. He came in, got like 30 minutes in the last game, but only touched the ball 6 times, only had 3 passes completed, just wasn't really involved. And I think it's kind of a it win, not if situation in terms of a transfer, but it does need to happen soon. We are running out of time for the window, and if he ends up staying, I think this could be a wasted season, honestly. I mean, I'm sure he'd probably get back into the starting lineup, but he needs to be playing at a higher level if he wants to have ambitions to maybe even make the USMNT, because now with Paredes and Weah both injured right now, this is his opportunity, and he's just not being able to take it because he's not being given the minutes.
Yeah, it's really sad to see. I think some of these transfer sagas really dragged on for a while, but yeah, hopefully he steps up. Well, it's given the chance. I think I agree with you. If he stays there, he'll likely drag on and to be back in the starting lineup, but it's a waste of a season. He needs to step up a level, really, and I really have high hopes for him, so hopefully that happens. Moving on to another player right here who was on the transfer update a while back. We mentioned last season that he should get a move, and he left Belgium, and hopefully that can happen to Yao as well. But it's Mark McKenzie. I think I mentioned last week he was on my stock watch to maybe get some minutes. Well, he started against Nice, which I think is really nice. I'll be honest, rewatching, I don't think he was brilliant, but he got the start. He got to play there. Nice is a good side as well, so nice to see that he gets minutes right away after such a small amount of time, really. So I think that just having a guy playing in a top 5 league as a center back is something we really need, and props to him because he made the jump up. So hopefully he can bounce on that. And I'll just say Bombito, the Canadian, he looked really good. I thought he looked really good for Nice in the moments that I saw. But props to McKenzie there. I think that Mark can have a really big season. So I wanted to give him some props.
Yeah, you could say it's Nice that he's already getting minutes for Toulouse. It's a good thing they didn't lose as well. A good result against a good side. And for my final pick, I'm going to keep the upwards trajectory going with, I mean, I had to mention him, Brendan Aronson, scoring for Leeds, getting his second goal of the season. It's been such a dream comeback for him. I mean, admittedly, I was very nervous. I think we both picked him to be the comeback player of the year from a USMNT perspective, but I can't lie. Every single game I watch him, I'm still so nervous because all of the bad memories from 2 seasons ago. But he's proving the doubters wrong. He's quickly becoming loved. They even sung his American Boy chant after he scored, which I thought was really nice to see. And he seems to be quickly becoming back in the good books with the fans and really playing well. Like I said, with the sale of Rutzer, he's able to play a little bit more as a 10. Him and Nyanto were kind of interchanging on the left and the middle, but I think he finally has the opportunity now, provided they don't sign a new one in that position. I think they're going for more of wingers, which is, again, a good sign. He's going to become probably their number 110 for this season, and I could really see a huge comeback. Maybe even might be a bold prediction to say, but I think this could be his best ever season in Europe, going even better than some of the years at Salzburg. I think this could be a double-digit goals and assists season, which is crazy to say after the last couple of years, but he's back in form, and I think it can be maintained, especially since they have 46 league games.
I completely agree, because if he gets double digits goals and assists in the championship, for me that's a higher caliber than Salzburg. And also it would beat a lot of the allegations that he's not physical enough and gets pushed around. The championship is one of the most physical leagues you will get out there, and it's so nice to see him bouncing back. And I see even in the comments a lot of fans saying that, well, he deserves another chance, he was always good. You know, the guys always track back on what they said, so it's nice to see. I think it's a fresh new start under a new manager that seems to like him. Really excited for him, and under Poch as well. I think that system favors him. So moving on right here to my last pick, this is a guy that I think you're one of his biggest fans, Braden. It's Cade Cowell. I'm going to pick him on a stock up because I think he's been quietly good. I'm very critical of Cowell at times. I like how direct he is. He's fearless. Needs to polish every single aspect of his final third game. And even though he didn't really score or assist this week, he played against Tigres, who are one of the most decent sides in Mexico. I think they've been bringing up their fame throughout the past few years. Very good side, and he didn't get a goal or an assist, but I think he created a lot. Watching the game, he didn't get the highest EP rating right there, but I thought that just watching the game, that counts more than the LA Galaxy goal he got against, for example. So I think that Cade Cowell is emerging, and maybe he might get a move, because I see some Chivas fans that were saying that they should sell him and to sign someone else and sell him right now because some of them don't really rate him and they think that it's a good moment to get a good value for their money. And I think maybe, hey, if he goes to Europe, he makes that jump, and he's a winger that can maybe develop. The athleticism is there. I just want to give him some love because lately he has been really good, and I didn't expect that, to be honest. So he's been surprising me. Talking about surprises, anyone that you think is, well, we move on to the segment where we pick two guys. One is the mainstream one is the underlier, kind of under the radar. Anyone who you think might surprise us and you will keep on your stock watch for the week, Braden?
Well, I think Cowell actually won Liga MX Player of the Month as well, which is insane. To have an American at Chivas, the most traditionally Mexican club, doing that, I think is kind of insane when you really deep it. But moving on to my players to watch, and I'll start with the sleeper candidate. It's the American at Dortmund that I'm actually excited about, unlike Gio Reyna. Cole Campbell. I think he's the heir apparent to Reyna. Reyna was the heir apparent to Pulisic. We seem to just spawn in new Americans at Dortmund every couple of years, and Campbell's really making waves. I mean, he's been so good with the U19s and got his first, his first professional start and first professional minutes in general this past weekend, playing with Dortmund's second team, who are in the third division of Germany, and he looked really good. Honestly, he looked completely in place, and especially, I think another thing that stood out to me was the weekend before when he played with the U19s in the River Derby against Schalke. Schalke's U19 manager said that he would start for Schalke's first team, which is really high praise, especially from a huge rival. So I think his trajectory is just probably going the highest or the most quickly up of maybe any player we have, which is kind of wild to say considering he's still not with the first team. But I think he will make his Bundesliga debut this season at some point. And if he continues to get minutes and starts in the third tier, I think he will. And it's at least worth keeping an eye on because it's professional. He's going against grown men and he's not looking out of place. And then for my main candidate, it's going to be a very intriguing one for me, Johnny Cardoso. He was benched. I think this is what we're going to find out, and this is why I picked him. He didn't start either of their first two league games. This weekend, of course, against Alaves, they drew 0-0. He did start against Kruvibas. I definitely butchered that name. The Ukrainian side that they're playing in Europa Conference League qualifying. Last Thursday he started that. He's probably going to start again this Thursday in the second leg. If they win it, they qualify for the new league phase of the Conference League. But their game on Sunday is against Real Madrid at the Santiago Bernabeu. And I think this is going to be really telling because even though he will be starting on Thursday, I think that if he is truly seen as a starter in this team, he's going to play both of them. He's going to start against Real Madrid, probably their biggest, most difficult game of the season. I think it's fair to say Real are head and shoulders above the rest of the league. So if I think it's Pellegrini, their manager, truly rates him, then he'll start. But honestly, the way things are going, I don't know if he will. I think it's going to be very interesting to watch. But if he doesn't and continues to be on the bench, I'm going to get a little bit concerned.
Yeah, I think Roca and Carvalho have been doing quite well under Pellegrini. He has been complementing the shape of the team. I don't really see that because I think that the struggle for them is the same. Not enough goals in there. Without Isco, that side, I don't think they really finished top 7, top 8 to qualify for Europe. I really don't. But yeah, it remains to be seen because that's a game that regardless if he's a starter or not, he doesn't want to miss out on that one. That's a game that he wants to get involved and hopefully get some minutes. But I think it is a little bit concerning that he hasn't started in the league games. Hopefully he has a good match in midweek to get some minutes, even coming off the bench if he doesn't start. My picks right here, the first one is going to be Yunus Musa. Started off the season well with a goal contribution, which do come rare for him these days, but now he's moving on to play against Lazio. Hopefully get some minutes because they just signed another midfielder, and I think that Musa really needs to step up. Last season we were all happy with the rotational role that he had. Now I think that he could be a rotational player. He likely will be, but trying to reach into the starting lineup, you should always aim for more, and I think there is room for that because there's a new manager. The team's not playing incredibly, so I think that there's always a spot for you to carve out some more chances with the A team. Hopefully he does well there as well. We've seen our other American do really well against Lazio last year, so it'd be funny to see what kind of reception he gets. But I think that Musa could have a good game, and especially now with Poch, kind of every row is up for grabs, and I think that he's one that I'll definitely watch that game regardless, so I'll keep him on my stock watch. And the other one's going to be Tanner Tessman. It seems like finally, maybe, his deal is done with Olympique de Lyon, and they haven't really looked that good. I think that he gets a starting spot right away. Maitland Niles, what does he really do? I think that Tesman could do really well. I see some Leon fans being really happy with that signing. I think he would fit in really well. It's a ball possession team, and I think that that's where he would thrive. And I think that he just slots in and could maybe perhaps get some minutes this weekend, and hopefully that would be really nice to see. And just for the transfer saga to be over, I think that's a thing that's noteworthy. And yeah, those are our picks for the week. Let us know in the comments below what you thought of our picks. Do you agree, disagree, any name that we missed out? Let us know as well which players you're going to be keeping on your stock watch for the week. And if you like this type of format as well, we had a few different ones last season, so always would like to tailor the content to what you guys like. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe, share with your friends, and we'll see you next time.